To the panel of judges, professors, SP fellows, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant day to everyone. My name is Karen Laurico from Philippines. I am a master's student in Global Agricultural Economics at Kangwon National University. Today, I will be presenting my research about consumers' valuation of local specialty coffee in Western Visayas, Philippines. I choose this topic because it is relevant to my job as agriculturist under the Agribusiness and Marketing Assistance Division in the Department of Agriculture. This is the outline of my presentation. I will start with the introduction, followed by the overview of the Philippine coffee industry, and then I will present the objectives, methodology, results, conclusions, and policy implications. So why choose coffee? Coffee is second most consumed beverage next to water. In the Philippines, 9 out of 10 households have coffee in their pantries, and 8 out of 10 adults drinks an average of 2.5 cups of coffee every day. And according to the study conducted by the Kantar World Panel Philippines, Filipinos have shifted from moderate to heavy coffee drinkers. Coffee is a lucrative business, and it provides livelihood to many farmers. And the Philippine Coffee Roadmap aims to create a self-sustaining Philippines when it comes to coffee by 2022. Western Visayas is one of the top coffee-producing regions in the Philippines. It is the fourth largest population in Philippines with 8,249,400 inhabitants, and coffee is one of the priority commodities of the region with allotted budget from different national government agencies mandated by Republic Act 7900 to promote the production, processing, marketing, and distribution of high-valued crops. Department of Agriculture Western Visayas envisioned to have a market-driven and private sector-led agribusiness sector. The residents are very receptive to trying out and learning about specialty coffee and third-wave coffee movement, and consumer valuation study will help enterprises carry out various business decisions. What is specialty coffee? So there is a clarification. Specialty coffee is not special coffee, like caramel latte and other beverages which contains coffee with unusual names. Specialty coffee refers to the very excellent quality of coffee, which obtains a rating of 80 in a scale of 100, given by the best professional tasters. So it started with the coffee tree grown in the right climate and altitude until to the professional barista who prepared your coffee. Specialty coffee is synonymous of good quality, sustainability, and transparency. So this is the overview of the Philippine coffee industry. The Philippines is a coffee producer but a net importer of coffee overall. It is a domestic consumption 10 times higher than the production. The per capita consumption of coffee is estimated at 1.3 kilogram, and it has a population of over 104 million people. The total consumption of coffee in the Philippines is estimated at 2.1 million bags in 2010, and it keeps increasing as years go by. Therefore, the Philippines has a great market potential for coffee. The main objective of this study was to identify and analyze consumers' valuation of local specialty coffee in Western Visayas, Philippines. Specifically, it was aimed to determine and analyze the factors influencing consumers' valuation of local specialty coffee, discuss the purchasing and consumption behavior of coffee consumers, and understand the behaviors and preferences of different customer segments according to the demographic characteristics in order to develop a marketing strategy for local specialty coffee. So this is the methodology of my study. I use contingent valuation method to analyze the willingness to pay for local specialty coffee, but I started with selecting variables and price levels to create a standardized structured questionnaire, and I conducted the survey through online. And then I conducted a pilot test with 30 respondents to test the reliability and accurateness of the study. And in the final survey, I got 300 respondents. They are all coffee drinkers, aged 18 to 64 years old, living in Western Visayas, Philippines. And the descriptive statistics analysis was analyzed by frequency and percentage, and the quantitative analysis was done through contingent valuation method. Contingent valuation method is a survey-based methodology that was originally developed to elicit the value of those goods or services whose market price is not well defined. The double-bounded dichotomous choice approach is the standard elicitation format used by CV practitioners. The DBDC reduces the strategic bias in respondents compared to the open-ended method, and it provides more efficient estimates of central tendency compared to the SBDC format. However, CV method may suffer from hypothetical bias because of the hypothetical nature of the question. The respondent has a tendency to answer a value which is over his real value to avoid undesirable traits. This is the example of double-bounded dichotomous choice question. And this is what I use in my study. The respondents was asked, if a cup of a normal conventional brewed coffee in Western Visayas, Philippines costs 42 pesos, are you willing to pay above 50 for local specialty coffee? If the respondent answered yes, he will be asked, would you be willing to pay 100 pesos? Which is times 2 of the initial price. And if the respondents answered no, he will be asked, would you be willing to pay 50 pesos, which is half of the initial price? So this is the price distribution levels. It was decided based on the results of the pilot survey. It was assumed that the dependent variable willingness to pay is influenced by socioeconomic characteristics, coffee consumption patterns, awareness, and plan to purchase specialty coffee in the future. The mean willingness to pay and the correlation of the factors and willingness to pay were analyzed by running DB command in Stata 14. Given the assumption, the willingness to pay for the local specialty coffee can be specified as the individualized unobservable true willingness to pay equals to the vector of socioeconomic factors, coffee consumption patterns, their prior awareness of specialty coffee, and their future plan to purchase specialty coffee, multiplied by the vector of parameter estimates plus the IID error component. Given the DBDC format, 4 possible response cases were generated. The first is yes-no, where bid 1 and bid 2 are the responses to the first and second questions in the DBDC, respectively. The probability of bid 1 equals to 1, bid 2 equals to 0 given xi is the conditional probability that an individual answers yes to the first question and no to the second question. T1 and T2 are the first and second bid amounts, respectively. The second case is yes, yes, where probability of bid 1 equals to 1, bid 2 equals to 1 given xi is the conditional probability that an individual answers yes to both the first and second questions. The third is no, yes, where probability of bid 1 equals to 0, bid 2 equals to 1 given xi is the conditional probability that an individual answers no to the first question and yes to the second question. And the last is no, no, where the probability of bid 1 equals to 0, bid 2 equals to 0 given xi is the conditional probability that an individual answers no to both the first and second questions. This is the maximum likelihood function used to estimate the parameters, which is the summation of the natural logarithm of the 4 response cases. So this is the result, the summary of the participants' socioeconomic characteristics. On average, the age of the respondents is approximately 33 years, and they drink 2.25 cups per day, and most of them are aware of specialty coffee and they have plans to purchase specialty coffee in the future. The current purchasing price of coffee is 85 pesos. And most of them are female, single, employed, holds a bachelor degree, and has an income of 11,000 pesos to 20,000 pesos. So most of the coffee purchased and consumed by respondents in the region is coffee beverages, instant mixes, and ground coffee. So ground coffee is mostly consumed by people aged 41 to 55 years old, while instant mixes is consumed by people aged 26 to 40 years old. And the respondents preferred to consume sweet and bitter coffee with an aroma of medium roast, which is nutty, caramelly, and chocolate. So as mentioned above, a CV study was conducted using a DBDC format to evaluate consumers' valuation on local specialty coffee. The result of the study shows that the mean bid value provided to respondents in the first and second question is 70 pesos and 118 pesos respectively, given the use of the DBDC design. The yes response rate to first question and second question are quite high. And this is the results of the regression of consumer valuation of local specialty coffee. It shows that younger consumers are more willing to pay for the local specialty coffee than elderly consumers. And it also shows that highly educated and high-income consumers have higher willingness to pay for the local specialty coffee. The respondents who have consumed coffee more often and who have been drinking coffee for a long time are more likely to avoid a possible price increase. And moreover, respondents who have prior awareness about the product being valued and have future plans to purchase specialty coffee are more likely to pay high price for local specialty coffee. And it shows also that respondents who have a high current purchasing price for coffee are willing to pay premium for local specialty coffee. And this factor is highly significant. So based on the results, the independent variables that are statistically significant are income at 10%, duration at 5%, awareness at 10%, purchasing plan at 5%, and purchasing price at 1%. So the intercept and sigma are also statistically significant at 1% and 10% respectively. So the mean WTP is 156.40 pesos or approximately 3.23 US dollars. So it was estimated based on the regression results. Furthermore, a sensitivity analysis on changes in consumer surplus relative to the change in the price of locally produced specialty coffee was conducted to analyze the consumer welfare effects of promoting local specialty coffee and check the benefit gained by the consumers if they consume specialty coffee. So the results show that consumers maximize their utility when they consume local specialty coffee, even when the price increase is limited to 40% relative to the current market price of coffee. The positive consumer surplus is an indication that consumers that derive a large benefit from buying a specialty coffee are more likely to purchase them again in the future. However, if the coffee price graded as specialty coffee will be increased to 50% in contingent valuation methods, consumers suffer and average welfare losses. And this is the conclusions and policy implications of the study. Increasing the awareness and understanding of consumers about the real meaning of specialty coffee is important since it can help them appreciate the quality of a specialty coffee. The consumers with prior awareness about the product being valued are more likely to pay a high price for local specialty coffee. Results indicate that coffee consumers in Western Visayas are willing to pay an approximate 271% premium above the price per cup of a normal conventional coffee, which means that coffee consumers have a positive perception of the local specialty coffee. Consumers maximize their utility when they consume local specialty coffee, even when the price increase is limited to 40% relative to the current prevailing market price of coffee. This study is timely and relevant to achieve the developmental goal of the Department of Agriculture in creating a market-driven agribusiness sector in the region. The findings derived from this study is relevant to the DA and partner local government units as basis of selecting and designing future developmental goals, developmental interventions for coffee producers, processors, retailers, and possible investors. Business owners and those intending to venture into the business can use the result of the study to understand the behavior of the customers and develop a good marketing strategy for the business. In the academic field, the result of the study would help extend the context of consumer behavior and contingent valuation and set a path for future research. However, this study is subject to constraints and limitations. The study was limited only to coffee drinkers in Western Visayas region with access online and was restricted to 300 respondents due to the limited time and budget of the researcher. Therefore, results cannot be generalized because there are many who are not familiar with online survey who are excluded from the study. The study used primary data. Thus, the reliability of data depends on the information provided by the respondents. The respondents' views and opinions may hold true for the time being but may vary in the future. The use of a convenience sample presents constraints that the findings may not be representative of the entire study population. Therefore, further research is needed to replicate the findings in other sampling methods to provide evidence of generalizability. So this ends my presentation. Thank you and have a good day.